Have you ever gazed at the night sky and wondered what lies beyond? What secrets do the heavens hold? Tonight we're going on an extraordinary journey, one that transcends time and space. We're delving into the story of the Isra and Mi'raj. It's a miraculous night journey and ascension of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This isn't just a story. It's a pivotal moment in Islamic history, a night filled with wonder, divine encounters, and profound lessons that resonate with us even today. Imagine this. One night in Mecca, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was resting near the Kaaba. The angel Gabriel, or Jibril in Arabic, appeared before him. But this wasn't an ordinary visit. This was the beginning of a journey that would defy all known laws of physics and human understanding. The first part of this journey is known as the Isra, which means the night journey in Arabic. Gabriel brought with him a magnificent creature, described as being smaller than a mule, but larger than a donkey, white in color, with wings. Its name was al-Buraq, derived from the Arabic word for lightning, because each stride it took was as far as its eyes could see. The Prophet mounted this celestial steed, and in the blink of an eye, they were off, soaring through the night sky. Their destination? The farthest mosque, al-Aqsa, in Jerusalem. Think about the distance between Mecca and Jerusalem. Even today, it's a significant journey. But on that night, it happened in a fraction of the time. This wasn't just a physical trip. It was deeply symbolic. Jerusalem was, and is, a sacred city for multiple faiths, a hub of prophecy. By traveling there, the Prophet Muhammad was connecting the final message of Islam with the long line of prophets who came before him, like Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, peace be upon them all. When they arrived at the al-Aqsa compound, the Prophet dismounted. There, waiting for him, were all the prophets who had ever lived. It was a divine gathering of the greatest spiritual leaders in history. And who did they choose to lead them in prayer? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This act signified his role as the seal of the prophets, the one who would complete the divine message to humanity. It was a moment of immense honor and responsibility, bridging the past with the future of faith. After leading the prayer, the second, even more astounding part of the journey began, the Mi'raj, the ascension. From the sacred rock within the al-Aqsa compound, the very spot where the Dome of the Rock stands today, the Prophet Muhammad, accompanied by Gabriel, ascended into the heavens. This wasn't just a flight into outer space. This was a spiritual ascension, layer by layer, through the seven heavens. Each heaven had a gate, guarded by an angel, and in each heaven, the Prophet met one of his predecessor prophets. In the first heaven, he met Adam, the father of humanity. In the second, he met Jesus and John the Baptist. In the third, he met Joseph, known for his incredible beauty. In the fourth, he met Enoch, or Idris. In the fifth, Aaron, the brother of Moses. In the sixth, he met Moses himself. And finally, in the seventh heaven, he met Abraham. Leaning against the frequented house, a celestial equivalent of the Kaaba, where thousands of angels perform worship daily. Each encounter was filled with wisdom and greetings of peace. The prophets all welcomed him as a righteous prophet and a righteous brother. Imagine the feeling of camaraderie, the sense of a shared mission across millennia, all culminating in this one sacred night. This journey through the heavens solidified his connection to the divine lineage and reaffirmed the universal nature of God's message. Beyond the seventh heaven, Gabriel could go no further. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, continued alone, reaching a place of unimaginable proximity to the divine presence, a place called Sidrat al-Muntaha, the lote tree of the utmost boundary. This is a realm beyond which no creation can pass. It's a place described in the Quran with awe-inspiring imagery, a place where the Prophet received direct revelations from God. Here, in this ultimate communion, three significant gifts were bestowed. First, the last verses of the second chapter of the Quran, Surah al-Baqarah, which are verses of mercy, forgiveness, and faith. Second, the promise that the major sins of his followers would be forgiven, except for the sin of associating partners with God. This was a message of immense hope and divine mercy. And the third gift, a cornerstone of a Muslim's life, the institution of the 5 daily prayers, or Salah. Initially, God ordained 50 prayers a day. On his descent, the Prophet passed by Moses again, who, with his wisdom and experience with his own people, advised him to go back and ask for a reduction, said your people will not be able to bear it. The prophet went back and forth, negotiating with God, who, in his infinite mercy, reduced the number from 50 down to 5. Yet, God also declared that the reward for these 5 prayers would be equal to the reward of 50. This shows us the importance of prayer as a direct link to God, and also the incredible mercy of our Creator. After this divine encounter, the prophet returned to the 7th heaven, rejoined Gabriel, and descended back to Jerusalem. Then mounted the Buraq once more for the journey back to Mecca. The entire incredible, world-altering journey of Isra and Mi'raj happened in just a single night. When morning came, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, knew he had to tell his people what had happened. He was sitting, quiet and contemplative, when one of the leaders of the Quraysh, Abu Jahl, came by and asked him what was wrong. The Prophet told him about his night journey. Abu Jahl, mocking him, gathered the people of Mecca and asked the Prophet to repeat his story. The crowd was incredulous. They laughed and scoffed. A journey to Jerusalem and back in one night, it was impossible, they challenged him. If you really went to Jerusalem, they said, describe the temple to us. The Prophet had only been there for a short time in the dark of night, but God brought the image of the temple right before his eyes, and he described it in perfect detail down to the last door and window. The travelers in the crowd confirmed his description was accurate. Still, they weren't convinced. What about the trade caravans coming from that direction? They asked. He described a specific caravan where it was, what had happened to one of its camels, and when it was expected to arrive in Mecca. And just as he had predicted, the caravan arrived at the exact time and confirmed the details he had shared. Despite this clear proof, many still refused to believe. But one man, his closest friend, Abu Bakr, didn't hesitate for a moment. When people ran to him to tell him the outrageous story, his response was simple and profound. He asked, did he really say that? They said yes. Abu Bakr replied, if he said it, then it is true. For this unwavering faith, he earned the title, As-Siddiq, the truthful one. The Isra and Mi'raj is a story of miracles, but it's also so much more. It teaches us about the power of faith in the face of ridicule, just like Abu Bakr's faith. It shows us the honor given to all the prophets and the unity of God's message throughout history. It gives us the gift of Salah, our direct line of communication with our Creator 5 times a day, a spiritual ascension we can experience ourselves. It reminds us of God's boundless mercy and love for his creation. This night wasn't just for the prophet, it was for all of us. It was a journey that brought back a message of hope, a framework for worship, and a profound reminder that even in our darkest nights, a journey to the light is possible. It tells us that with true faith, the impossible becomes possible, and that our connection to the divine is closer than we can ever imagine. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through one of the most miraculous nights in history. If this story touched you, please like, share, subscribe for more content that explores the depths of faith and history. What part of the Isra and Mi'raj inspires you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, may you find peace and blessings in your own spiritual journey.